Awesome. Hello, everyone. We are live. We're excited to welcome our second guest of Gray Space, Karla. I know there is a 30-second delay between what we see here and what you see, but we'd like to start with some icebreaker questions. Let us know in the comments where are you based and what no code do you use. And we're streaming on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. Not X, but Twitter. Karla, where are you based and what no code tools do you use?
So I'm based in Switzerland, but I'm Brazilian. And the no-code tools I use, I would start with Figma, right? But I use a bunch of them. Bravo Studio, Airtable, Fillout, Todo, Comunico, Sano, Good Barber, just to say a few.
Mhm. Yeah, a
And you,
lot.
Grace.
Yeah, right now I'm in Seattle, but I live in San Francisco. I've been traveling a lot for business. I was just like in Vancouver 2 days ago as well. What no code tools I use Figma to design mainly, and then Framer and Webflow to build websites.
Oh, nice. You started directly with Framer and Webflow,
Yeah,
or
I
you
started,
tried
no,
something before?
so usually when I made my first website, it was actually on Tumblr and WordPress like 10 years ago. And then I
Hmm.
made my first portfolio on WordPress. This was
Okay.
before I knew how to use Figma. This was like in college when I was
Hmm.
in a hack or something. And then my
Hmm.
first portfolio, I designed it in Figma and then I made it in Webflow. And then
Hmm.
now I'm working with Framer as well because I really like Framer's plugin where you can copy any frame in Figma and paste it into Framework and edit it. It saves a lot of time. So for me as a designer, I love designing with like a blank canvas. I don't have to like manually look at each like boxes. I just love to like drag and drop each thing around. So yeah, I've been loving Framer lately.
Oh, nice. I was about to ask how you learned it. Did you use their own university, like Webflow has this university, and also Framer has this whole category of resources?
I mostly just use Framer's YouTube channel, like their intro video,
Oh,
and I was like a
hmm.
30-minute or 50-minute long. I just like followed that and then knew it was pretty
Okay.
easy for me to pick up other ones because I feel like once you know one
Hmm.
tool, it's pretty easy to pick up the rest.
I totally agree with you. I think the point is really to start, right?
hmm Yeah, and I remember on Webflow, I used Webflow University. I love the guys' tutorials though, but I was like I had more time on my hands, so I went all the details. It was really great skills to learn because now sometimes I work with multiple sites, I can go and edit them. So it was good knowledge.
Amazing, amazing. And I also consider kind of WordPress a little bit of no code, right? Even though you can
hmm
write your own themes, I would say that is even the no code tool before no code got this whole movement.
hmm Yeah, I noticed no code being more popular over the years. Let's see what we got in chat. We have a tool from India who uses Figma and WordPress. Hello, Barvia. Um, Luis is a Brazilian.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and Valentin, based in Madrid, Spain, and using learning Figma and Webflow. Leo's in Paris,
Nice.
uses Airtable, Figma, Notion, and several others. Oh, I was just in
Oh,
Paris a
wow.
couple weeks ago. I accidentally went to the Olympics. And
Amazing.
hello, Manny. Thank you. Well, yeah, let's get started. Carlo, love for you to introduce yourself. Oh, let me start introing everyone too. This is my second episode, so welcome to our second episode of Grace Pace, where we interview cool designers who are also content creators and founders. We focus on everything outside the 9 to 5, and I'm excited to welcome our second guest, my friend Carla Fernandez. I've known Carla for a couple of years and had her on Design Buddies. I remember when we were working with Bravo and Karla was doing some workshops on building no-code apps. During our live, do feel free to jump in and ask any questions or make any comments in the chat. We're co-creating this live podcast with y'all right now on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. Karla is also a designer and specializes in no-code tools to build products. She's been in the industry for over 25 years, spoke at many conferences, and lived in 11 different countries. Karla, welcome to the show. Would love for you to tell our buddies what you're up to these days and what is vibing for you.
Thank you for having me, Grace. It's great to be here, and it's always good to collaborate with you because I do feel that we share a lot of passion here for our community, for having other designers improving themselves and skilling up. So I really love to collaborate with you. I
Yeah, thank
am
you.
lately learning more about no code and always improving my skills. So I do have this skill set where we did some workshops together about building no code apps native, right? Native apps using no code. And now I am also exploring app web app products. For example, like Toddle. I just created one product and launched two called Team of One. And that's what I have been up to, like studying, learning, and implementing, and also teaching other designers and founders that want to build their own products to do the whole design process until the product is on the market.
Mhm. That's so awesome. I would love to dive into what you're working on as well, but I'm curious, since you've been a designer for over 25 years, how have you seen the field evolve and where do you see the future of no code?
That's a great question. Like, on contrary of what a lot of people imagine, I started my career as a graphic designer, but I did become a web designer because this was the next thing on web. So web was evolving, actually was being born in Brazil around the late 90s, and I jumped in. I thought it was really interesting, so I started to do graphic design for web, which was at the time called web design. And with that, I learned how to program in several languages. Like I learned PHP, Pascal, Delphi, a lot of things that are really not useful today. So I learned all these coding skills to fall in love with no code later on. No code came into my life, I would say, with WordPress, like we were talking before. This was kind of a starter, but I also use several CMSs, like a gestor, content gestor management systems, like a Plon, um, Django, Joomla, and I was building things with all of those. And at some point in my career, I realized when I was doing product in Angular that either I could keep it up and learn React, or I could just go design side and improve my Figma skills. Like a Figma was getting traction then, and design system was growing as well. So I thought, okay, either I am a very good developer or a very good designer. Since I have been a designer forever, I went to the design side. And then 3 years ago, I learned that I could be building something I wasn't able to build before. So I was always building websites, web stores, web shops, but never native apps. So once I learned that I could do iOS and Android apps, I was like sold. And when I realized that it would be on top of Figma, I was like, okay, this is my dream, right? So I learned how to do it, kept my 1 month to build one product, and launched in the first month. So I was super excited when I saw the product at the store. And that's why I have been advocating for design in no code. And I do believe that designers today don't need to learn how to code. We can do web products and the native products with the skills we already have.
Yeah, definitely agree. I feel like as a designer, I think there's so many skills you want to learn. When startups are hiring designers who can code and who can do product marketing, what they're looking for is entire product team. But I think as a designer, knowing the basics of front end like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, enough to help collaborate with developers and understand how divs and how the web is built is helpful, but I don't think you need to pressure yourself to learn code from scratch and being able to like do everything a developer does if you're not interested in it. If you're interested in it, then go ahead, but don't feel
Go
pressure if
for
you're
it.
not. I say that as a former computer science student who used to make games and code a lot, but now I have not. Um,
Yeah,
there's
totally
so
agree
many,
with you.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. There's always so many new tools coming up, like Figma, Framer. It used to be Adobe. How do you go about learning new tools? Is it like watching tutorials, creating something from scratch? How do you go about learning a new tool?
for me, the fun way to learn something is to build something. So when I decide on learning a new tool, I also decide on a product that I want to create with that one tool. Because if not, you never know when it's finished. Like if you go to a tool and say like, oh, I'm going to learn Framer today or Webflow or any other tool like Todo, for example, what will happen is that you learn a bunch and you never stop learning, right? You can spend 1 week, 1 month, 2 years and never build anything. And probably if you don't put that in practice, you forget. So my ideal way to learn is really to think about a product that this tool can allow me to create. And then I use check what is a constraint, if there is a workaround, if there is something that could not be built. So I think that's the easiest way to also say like, okay, this is the product I want to build, and I went to here with it, and now I cannot do this, but I can do something else around here. But then it's done, and then when you finish, you know the basics of that tool, and you have a product that's the final product.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. Don't stress yourself in like watching every video of Wefel University. Just focus on what you need, and it's always a constant learning process. And don't feel the need to like master everything all at once. Because I remember when I was learning Adobe Photoshop, I was like, I gotta watch all these like Udemy tutorials before I can use it.
Mm,
But no, just jump in and do it.
exactly.
Yeah.
I would
Hmm.
say this is the best approach. You're totally right.
Yeah. I see you worked on a lot of products, also as a freelancer and launching like UI UX Hub. What is your process of taking an idea to a product?
Well, if you are a designer, you probably guessed right. So let's do the design process. Think about the idea, create the problem and statement, do research, talk with users, people that you'll be interested in your idea, do some user journeys, jobs to be done, and all of that. And once you get into doing wireframes, do testing, iterations, right? Like do testing with users again, iterate it, check if that version is better. And then afterwards, if you are using no code, go for implementation. If you are not, you may stop there and just give it to a development team, right? So in this case, using no code, the next step is for you to build. The fun starts here. So you decide which tool actually is the one that you should be using for that product. Then you start building it and learning in the process, because every project is different from each other. So you have things that you do over and over again to several products, and things that you do just once or twice or never done and you have to learn. So learning the process too. After you finish with it, test again with users, like now the real version. After that, iterate if necessary, and launch. Don't spend 1 year, 2 years, right? Like what I am talking here is a process you can do in 4 to 8 weeks, and that's totally what I recommend too. Don't launch too late.
Yeah, exactly. Just launch. Like yesterday, we literally made our first launch on Product Hunt and decided to do it the day before. So just, I guess like maybe that's a little bit fast, but I find that a lot of designers get stuck on being perfect. But I think design is a journey. It's always some improvements you can make. It's all about the learnings and the friends you make along the way, and yeah, how many people you impact along the way. So
I
yeah.
will add something to that. Like we are definitely always looking for perfection. But
Mm.
if you work for a company full time and you do perfection there, this product's never going anywhere. And this already happens a lot, that there is a lack, or there is a huge gap between development and design teams, right? Like one is much ahead of the other. So if you don't do that there, at your company that you may work full time once, or you still work, why would you do that with yourself? Like it's really a learning thing, right? Like you do publish, you learn with it. And so now I want to learn from you, like Grace. Well, how was it for you to launch the first time?
It was fun. Like, I'm in Seattle because we're co-working with my co-founder with Design Buddy. So actually something really big is launching soon with community education. We're hosting a huge launch party on Wednesday in 2 days in Seattle, which is actually my real birthday. So I'm really excited for that. And already
Oh,
had some people signed
nice.
up, even though I've never been to Seattle prior to this. So really excited for that. But it was fun, like for us, like and also for me. I used to struggle a lot with perfectionism, and I realized I'm not going anywhere in life. And I just feel like just quitting my job and like learning to live in the moment and enjoy every day has taught me that life is just a journey. I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to, like, my goal really is just like make every day the best day and just have fun. Because I feel like for so long, I spent time, I was just like, I told myself I can only enjoy my life if I'm on vacation or if I'm not in school. And I don't think that's a way to live because life can end anytime. And just realizing that, I'm just like, why wait? Like, life is so unpredictable. Just do it. But also, like, making sure that you're making calculated risks. Like, don't just like quit your job if you have no savings, but if you have enough savings, just quit your job and follow your dreams. So I was just like, it's so unpredictable. So just do it because you never know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, do the best you can do with today, right? Like I really love your mantra there.
Hmm. Thank you. Yeah, Product Hunt is fun. Like we literally just like thought of doing it like yesterday and just stay up till
Hmm.
midnight and working on it and then launched it. And we got a lot of upvotes and a lot of users. So it's cool. And I
Amazing.
feel like with Product Hunt, I used to feel like, oh my God, I need to be so planned. I need to tell everyone I'm launching on this day so everyone can upvote
Mhm.
it and I had to like ping everyone and all these things. But I'm just like, I'm just gonna do it. And then there's always room for future launches, like improvements and stuff. And I don't want to spend time messaging every single person to upvote it. I just want to share it with my community, whoever wants to upload it. So I just like kind of just do it that way and just to see what happens.
Yeah, I feel you are right. You know, like when I launched the UX UI Hub, I think I had 5 upvotes the first launch.
Mm.
It
Hmm.
really doesn't matter. And I receive so much spam every time I launch. It's like so many people come after me, like, oh, I can put you in front of
Oh my God, me
this many
too.
people here, this many people there. It's like well, what's the point of you just having upvotes? Like, because what you want actually it's like the thing with followers, right? Like you don't want followers, you probably want customers, or you want a community, or you want someone that actually connects with you. So if you just have upvotes, that is worth zero. I don't get it, right?
Yeah, I agree. Upvotes don't make money. It just doesn't really convert. It's just like for heads it
Exactly.
up, like the best you get is like a little shout out on their newsletter, but you can also build up your own distribution funnel as well. I feel like Product Hunt is like for me, I see it as like a good milestone. Like, ooh, we launched something cool, and whoever's the
Hmm.
outcome is complete out of your control. And yeah, I'll just let society and let it be. Um, Same as like launching products and stuff. It's all about like journey and learnings along the way. How was your experience with Product Hunt? Like what
Totally.
have you launched and what have you gotten? What was your like results from it? Like
Wow, like
how
I
has it
think
impacted your products?
some had like some. I think the best impact I had from Product Hunt were people that were really interested in the product and gave me feedback. So they really used it and gave me feedback and the honest feedback. And even sometimes not even on Product Hunt itself, but later on, like a one-on-one via LinkedIn or Twitter or X, if you want to call it that. And it's really like that. I think the feedback piece is the most fun and the most important. And I did launch most of my products there, and now it's kind of a vicious cycle because I always want to launch there. It doesn't really matter the vote itself. I never got the number one, two, three, not even in the week, a thing. But I'm always happy to see new faces or old faces also there. And, it feels like a community when you see the same face everywhere because you see that you have support. And I think
Hmm.
that's really important too, that you get some support to do your own thing.
Yeah,
And
I
talking
agree.
about that, I should do a shout out now because
Yes.
this Saturday I was reading again that book from Noah Kagan called The $1 Million Weekend. And then there is a challenge there that is like, oh, ask for the people that you are doing something in your business that they should contribute to you just with $1. And then I realized, okay, like this is kind of silly. I could ask people for $1, but this is not bringing me anything, right? Like it doesn't really matter. But then I did say like, okay, I you do a post on Twitter or X, okay, on X, and then there at a Stripe kind of possibility to pay. And so I did the tweet and I asked for it. And 5 people actually supported me. So a shout out for you. Guid, Brian, Akshay, I may say your name wrong, right? Which is really bad. Art, and oh my God, I forgot one name. I should check. Like now, I owe you one, huh? But thank you, guys.
Yeah, it's all
Oh
about
man,
quality over quantity.
really nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, quality over quantity. And don't, I feel like social media teaches us, like, ooh, I need to get more likes, I need to get more followers. But I feel like the real value is your super fans, people who will support you, the people who value you, and people you want to help, not like all the numbers. Because if you're like, ooh, people will be like, oh, good job, and like not do anything. So talk is cheap.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Like action says much more, right?
Mhm. Let's highlight some of our buddies in the chat. So, Rajitha Kumar says, great to be here. Enterprise UX practitioner from North Carolina. Figma, yes, I'm a big Figma fan too. Completely agree, iteration is key. Um, and Tiffany from Austin, creative designer with a background in UX UI, design, animation, motion graphics. Sharon asks,
Wow.
anyone using Figma with Waffle plugin? I've never used that. I didn't know there was a Figma with Waffle plugin. Have you used that?
I have not used, but I know there is one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you, Samiha. And Sharon also asks, can you mention the name of no-code software you recommend for used?
Mhm. Sure. So for native apps, I use Bravo Studio connecting with Figma and Airtable most of the time. And I also use Forms to create forms because I think it's really important for us to validate a form. And making that on a no-code app, it's kind of tricky. So I prefer to create forms on a form too. So I use either Fill Out or Tally for that. And for web apps, I just learned Toddle, which is a great tool. And I am about to teach how I built the team of one.club slash Karla Fernandez on a video that probably will be published tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Lots of cool tools. But yeah, the best thing, oh, says the best thing to do is never give up. Yeah, just do it. Like, stop telling limiting thoughts to go away and just do it. I can't curse on LinkedIn because it like affects the algorithm. But yeah, just do it. Bhavya asks, I also specialize in using Figma for design and leverage Framer and Bubble for
Mm.
no-code development. Any more suggestions?
Well, if you use Bubble, I would try Todo because everything you can build with React Native today, you can build in Todo. And I am a designer. I know, I understand that I have a web development background, but they are doing the web the way it's supposed to be. And right now, they even got around to go open source. So soon you'll be able to host that too. And I think it will be a huge bump when this happens because a lot more people will be involved in the tool. Also, this will bring more governmental institutions to use it and then kind of open the market for designers that are interested in building with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Atimo from Ghana. Wow, thanks for joining us all the way in
Wow,
Ghana. I think it's like really
amazing.
late right now. Currently graphic design, hoping to get a web design. That's so awesome. I would love to learn more about the products you're working on. I know one of them it's UI, UX UI Hub. I'm curious, like, what are your key learnings from building UX UI Hub, which is like this app, which I'll link in here. Like, would love to you to share
Yeah.
more about it, your process, and what you're learning a lot about along the way, what it's heading to, and
Mhm.
everything about it.
Sure. First, I say, Atimo, thank you for coming because you said there in the link that you would be here. So you said that you are. This is amazing. And okay, talking about the UX UI Hub, I did build this product first as just events app. It was a very simple app, and it was done for another designer. His name is Alex Bustein, and he was creating every week a newsletter with events on LinkedIn. And a lot of people were kind of enjoying it, reposting, giving likes and commenting and everything. So I thought I liked it, and I was still working on my portfolio of apps. So I did reach out to him and said, like, Alex, I really love the thing you are doing, this list of events. Would you like to have an app for it? Because I am building up my portfolio of apps, and I would love to have something to help the community. And he said, yes, let's do it. And for my happiness, he was also using Airtable already, which was magical. So I just needed to connect with his database, create the design, and publish the app. It was like a 2-day project. And so in 2 days, we had an app running, and people start to downloading it. So he was changing career path. So he was from going from just being a designer to really going to health design, working in the industry of health. And then he did have a lot going on, and he could not keep that up, that list running. So I told him, like, okay, so since you have no time, can I take it over? And he was not against it because he was not adding content on it anymore. So when I took over, I just added more content every week and everything. And after quite a year, I think, 1 year or so, I realized that the downloads jumped from 100 to 1,000. And when I reached 1,000 users, I was like, okay, so this is something people are interested in. So I did collaborate with junior designers that were finished the Springboard Bootcamp to do some research on what could be very of a benefit for junior designers to skill up after they finish a bootcamp, right? Like a junior designers. So they did this research, and then they end up doing interviews too, and we got to some final features. They created mid fidelity kind of prototype, and then afterwards I created the UI for it and relaunched the app in last December 2023. And from them, with the new features, we doubled number of users like in a quarter. So it was really interesting to see how people were interested in jobs, also learning from other experts, like other designers that went from junior designers to having a career that is really interesting, that other people really want to have for themselves. As well, a lot of resources. So most of the free resources I would give to my mentees, I also added to the app. And yeah, and keeping events. And what more? The tricky thing is connect. So there it's not a social app, it's not a social network app. I am really against everyone trying to do another social. It's like we already have so many. It's really tiring. I don't know how you feel about that, Grace, but for me it's really tiring. So there, you just create a very simple profile which you talk a little bit about yourself, put how many years you have of experience, and you can link your LinkedIn and your portfolio. And if you want to connect with other designers, you just go there saying like, okay, I'm open to connect. So people can go to your LinkedIn and request to connect with you. And so they do that themselves, and they don't do this inside the app, because LinkedIn is still the biggest network for work, I think.
Yeah, too many social apps out there. I'm getting tired, but it's also kind of fun at the same time. What are some of the
How many
challenges
how
you?
many of them how many of
Mhm,
them do right now? I know of Instagram,
mhm.
YouTube, LinkedIn. Like how can you do it all?
Yeah, I'm most active on like LinkedIn and Instagram. I use probably Instagram actually the most, and then LinkedIn,
Mhm.
and then Twitter. About the same too.
Mm-hmm.
I still use Facebook because I have a lot of friends from high school and friends who are older, so that's the primary platform
Oh,
that I met on cruise
nice. Okay.
ships. As a huge cruise ship community on Facebook. I really love the meme communities. I use TikTok as well. I literally just like TikTok
Oh,
and
wow.
YouTube. I make some long form videos on YouTube.
Okay.
And I repurpose a lot of content on Instagram and TikTok as well. So how I kind of
Mm-hmm.
see all of these social networks is I treat it like a lab and a showroom. For example, like my Twitter is like where I just like thought dump anything. If something does well on Twitter, I'll post it on LinkedIn. And same with TikTok and Instagram. I just like dump whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then as does well, I'll do it
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram. It's like more like a gallery. But yeah, what kind of
Oh.
social platforms do you use and what is some of the differences you notice on them?
Well, for me, I'm mainly using LinkedIn, like with a more, priority and talking about design, and yeah, updating the app every week. So like that's also a commitment, a newsletter that goes also for that on LinkedIn and on Substack. And yes, I have an Instagram, but somehow I went to a trip and I forgot to update it. And then the next trip was later. After, then I was like, okay, now I have two trips, three, four. And then 2 years later, I'm like, oh, should I go back to publish? So I don't know. I want to, revive it, but I am kind of, this is so much work to do everything right.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm so behind on my Instagram as well, but I'm sometimes like pretty late because when I'm on a trip, I like to live in a moment and don't really keep my socials up to date.
Exactly.
So I post late, so it's like a month late, and people think I'm traveling all the time, which is kind of true, but kind of not true. Uh,
Hmm.
same, relate. Yeah, but what social media do you all like to do? Let us know in the comments below. Like, I love LinkedIn. Like, I dance on LinkedIn. I feel like LinkedIn used to be such a corporate place, so it's becoming more fun. I love it.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
also enjoy it. I enjoy to see more work content and the valuable content there. Like we know a lot of great design creators, like that are there that are sharing their knowledge. So I think it's a place that you not just share, but you also learn a lot.
Yeah, I agree. It's a great place to connect with people too. And posting on LinkedIn is if people tell you it's cringe, then they're not your target audience. Because
Exactly.
yeah. Speaking of social media, what kind of content do you like to create, and what are some of your goals?
So I am trying to have more designers on this side of no code, right? Like using other no code tools to actually build products for real. So what I like to write about is exactly that, like what you can learn or what I did learn about launching this or that product or what did I learn in the process and things like that. I am trying to inform a little bit more because a lot of designers still don't know that those things are possible. And I do believe that a lot of junior designers dismiss this because they think, okay, I get a full-time job and that's it. And it's not really exactly how it works, right? Sometimes you have to be always learning and update. Actually, I would not even say sometimes, I would say always. You have to be updating your skills and learning new things to also show to the market that you are a good person or a good employee or someone that you should be hired. Because if I would not have done that, I would not be here 25 years working with design. If I would not be improving from graph design to web and then from web to app and improving my skills all the time, I would probably just be lost right by now. And that's what I believe that more people should learn about and also improve their skills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Learning no code tools. I'm trying to learn more as well, like trying to make more websites on like Framer and Webflow. Um, yeah, instead of
Mhm.
like learning to code again, because I forgot how to code. Well, I kind of know, but I haven't done it. I'm like definitely like 5 years out of practice.
Mhm.
Cool. Gonna highlight some comments. So Leo said, delete Instagram and Facebook. Don't use LinkedIn that much. Active on Discord. I do not think that's weird.
Hmm.
I think Discord's cool. Like, I meet so many cool people on Discord too. And Discord, you find a lot of resources. Also a great way to connect with people. So I know we talked about like social media, but I don't think you need to stress yourself to be active on all of them. I just personally like to use all of them because I meet a lot of people on different each app, and the more things I post, the more people will see it, and the more it increases my surface area of luck. And also, like, usually people, like, different people look on different social media platforms, and I'm not, like, too concerned about reposting things. So that's why I'm so bullish on that. But I've also gotten a lot of traction from, like, Discord. So, yeah.
Well, I would say my first Discord channel was exactly Design Buddies, and I actually learned how to use Discord with you. So that for me was new, and for a little while was really hard too. It took me a long time to learn, but today I'm also in love with it, and I participate on a lot of design and no code communities that are there, or in Slack, right? Like Slack, I also love. And Leotina, I would say, like, I remember you said that you are based in Paris. There is a no code summit coming on in October there, and I will be there. So maybe you join too. This will be a great event to learn more about no code if you are interested.
Hmm. Yeah, I love Paris. It's such a great vibe. Discord should sponsor us. Uh, I'm on with so many people on their platform. But Atimo says, I love LinkedIn. It's a platform that you can grow and expand so much. I met some amazing people so far who have coached me so well in my design journey. Like right now, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. LinkedIn loves you. We all love LinkedIn as well. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
that's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking of conferences, I know we have like a lot of conferences coming up and then a lot of conferences you've spoken at. What is the key message you like to share when you're speaking at these conferences?
I am all about kind of trying to inspire other designers to follow the same route. So the next conference coming up is WasteConf. It will be in Poland, in Krakow. And I will be speaking about my journey and learning from design to 15 launches. Now I have done more than 20, so 21. But when I got this spot, it was just like I think 19 or so, but I launched two more this last month. And then I will go to New York to speak at their table. That will be an event for um, founders, designers, and also several companies that are interested in automation and using Airtable and creating apps with it and everything. So it is like I love Airtable and I use it daily for almost everything right now. Like, everything for me, my brain right now, it's like a database. So I am really happy to go there to speak about it as well. Like how I built 12 apps on top of a single database. So this will be also very exciting.
How did you build 12 apps? Like, what are those 12 apps and what are the database and why?
So it was an iterative process, exactly. Like, I started with one idea that was creating an app for 100 animals. Like, kids have these books that they have little pictures of animals, and their parents just play with them, just showing the little animal in front of them, and they just laugh and maybe says the sound of the like, say, look to the dog and like, oh wow. Like I know that even owl wow can be different in another language, but that's the Brazilian person speaking. And this really made me realize that I am also against a lot of screen for kids, like screen time for kids. But if you do have to give a kid an app or a tablet or a phone to play with an app, I would hope that to be an educational product. So with that intention, I created 100 animals. That is simply 100 animals images that the kids can just swipe. That they are all colorful, but they can also read the name of the animal, also listen to the words spoken in English, in clear English, and also see an icon and an image of the real image. So they are really improving their cognitive learning by seeing the way that we represent an icon that is so simplified and the real object, right? Like you have to learn it somehow, right? We use apps every day. We know that when we see a symbol of a house, we know that that's the dashboard or is the home or is the first page. So you learn this with the time. So it's interesting to see kids also learning those things. And after I launched it, I realized, okay, people received it very well. So then I launched it in 6 more languages. So these were kind of 7 apps already. And after that, talking with parents, doing like some interviews and seeing how the kids actually interact with the app, I learned from parents that they were really interested in something, so that they were actually saying that they were really happy because their kid was learning a new language. And then I was like, well, this is not really useful, right? Because what is the point of you learning how to speak names of 100 animals in Chinese? You go to China and they wait for seeing an animal on the street and then scream, right? It's not really useful. So I thought, okay, so this is not really what it's for. Then I created on top of that a different kind of direction that is called My 150 Words. So it is like the same style of app. Is a flashcard app, has the image, the icon, the sound, and also the written of the word, and also in 6 languages. And you can learn words in 6 categories, and those are the first 150 words that kids learn when they are like toddlers or they are growing. So this was educational product, and a lot of people enjoyed that. So after it, I launched one for Switzerland with the 4 Swiss national languages called Swiss Lingo. So French, Italian, German, and Romansh. Romansh is a language spoken just for how 0.5% of the population in Switzerland, is almost dying. And this was kind of a cultural project trying to incentivize other parents that are in those other regions of Switzerland to help their kids also learn this language that's kind of dying. And for the last, I launched Bilingual Kids. That is the same, again, kind of database, but now the kid is learning 2 languages for those that are raised in houses that have two parents with different countries, right? Like, for example, I'm Brazilian. My husband is Brazilian too, but he's half Italian, and with his kids, like I'm a stepmother here, but with his kids, he speaks Italian, I speak Portuguese, and at the school they learn German, so they are interacting with a lot of languages all the time. And this is also very interesting too, because one of the parents is always kind of away. This will help the kid kind of keep the other language that's away by a playful way.
That's so awesome. Yeah, learning languages is so useful. Would love to get into like global living, but I'm also curious, how did you get into speaking at conferences?
Oh yeah, this is a great thing, like to talk about. I would say 2 ways. One is applying to speak, right? Like you can apply to speak at conference. They open calls to speaker a bit earlier. So their table, I'm talking because of that. So I did apply to speak and even forget about that. And then I got saying like, yes, your talk was accepted. So I'm going there. And the WasteConf was a fun thing. I actually applied to speak at Hatch conference. And Damon, Damon is the one responsible to create the conference, which is great. And you all should try to check that out. And then he told me, like, Karla, I won't approve your talk, but actually, because I found someone that have a better match to you. And then he presented me to this WasteConf
Mhm.
guy, like a Tom, that is like the one that's creating the conference there. and he was super interested in subject, and then I ended up speaking there. So you see, sometimes you are not the right match, but if that person is willing to connect you with other conference that is actually looking for that, it's also a great deal. But you have to apply somehow, right? You have to know people and network, and I think network is also for that, which is great.
Yeah, I agree. Like applying to conferences and also I also speak at a lot of conferences. Existing loudly is what I like to say what I do. As I just like try to post a lot of my knowledge on LinkedIn and if people like it, they'll reach out and invite me. That's how I've been able to like go around the world. And then yeah, I've also applied to some conferences as well too. I see some comments on LinkedIn are not showing up on StreamYard, but I would also love to dive. Like, I'll try to address as many as I can. But
Okay.
I'm also very curious to learn about this, about you. Like, how has living in like 11 different countries influenced your design perspective? Because I love traveling, been to almost 40 countries, but only lived in one or two, I guess, if you
Mhm.
can count me as a baby.
Yeah, like I think it did influentiate a lot the way I see design and how culture can change the way things are applied, right? And I think the fun I had going to a very simple thing that you do every day, like going to a shop or a store to buy groceries and just get in touch to product design in the way industrial design, right? The packaging and branding and colors and the way they brand things. Like, oh, is it cleaner? Is it busier, right? It's a bit like the super apps in China, which I did not know a lot, but I have seen this. Okay, we are all about minimalism here in Europe, and we think things should have less and less, more white space and space. And then you go to China, they have the very minimal little words, and they have 100 things on the screen, and I don't know how they navigate on that because they are used to it. So you have to adapt yourself. So I think for me was exactly that. It was um, a fun process of learning how they did do design, in posters and also some websites. I remember seeing the difference between the pages in booking.com in different countries. I was very curious about that. Every country I would just go and then I was like, oh, here is a bit different. Where is that? Like, so it was a very interesting process because this was also long ago, right? I did spend this time moving around for 7 years, and it has been now 6 years that I am kind of just based in Switzerland and Germany, and most of the time. So it was very interesting to see digital nomad life before digital nomad life. It's something that a lot of people are experiencing, like yourself, going somewhere, working from there. I also love this life, and I always keep doing this too, but much less than I used to.
Hmm. Do you feel like digital nomad? How do you feel like it's changed over the years? Do you feel like people are more like in Instagram, like, oh, gotta like get it for the gram now? Or I'm just curious.
I think the biggest change has been that right now you have more around you to support you. It's like you have more contacts on LinkedIn or on a community on Discord like yours, design buddies. You can just ping people and say like, oh, I'm going to this country. Who is there? What do you recommend? Like you could not do this 10 years ago. And this was tough a little bit, like you were kind of stuck with the tourism side. You would not have like a Airbnb was kind of in Europe being like, yeah, 2012 I could already book an Airbnb, but it was already not so many available. So you had this, you had to deal with hotels still or find rentals by yourself. So it was not easy. I think the biggest change is that. And the second one would be that with the world so much more global, tickets are cheaper, or housing is cheaper, and sometimes much cheaper than the place you live, and it's actually interesting for you to move around.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, the US. growing up here, it's very expensive. It makes like a lot of things feel a lot cheaper. Yeah, I've also noticed that about
Yeah.
like the design of things. But yeah,
Hmm.
because like,
Yeah. I wanted just to add to that too, that you said you reminded me is like there was also COVID, right? Like I was not digital nomad then, but this gave the opportunity today for people to work remote. What was for me, I was working remote because I did start working remote in 2006. And I already had my customers, I had my own company. And even though I was also working for agencies time to time, it was all remote. But this is something that became a little bit more normal right now with companies being fully remote and everything. So this is also something that today is much more easy and also acceptable.
hmm yeah, I know. I love remote work. Like I started working. I graduated like around 2020, so the remote work is the only work I know. That's why, like, I remember my former company announcing return to the office a couple of times a week. I was like, oh no, 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 bye. Yeah, cool. I got some. We have like about 9 minutes left. I have another meeting I have to run to in about 9 minutes, but I'll try to highlight as many questions as we can. LinkedIn user asks, what no code do you specifically use to build mobile apps?
Yeah, I spoke about this earlier. Maybe like you do be this recording of it, Grace. Maybe it's a good time for
Yeah,
us to speak about it that they can review because we spoke about it, all the no code tools I use, and how I also built a UX UI hub. So maybe you can review that
yeah.
part. But in some is like a Figma, Bravo Studio, and Airtable for native apps.
Yeah, Figma, Bravo Studio, and Airtable. Oh, yes, we can. I saw this comment on Discord as well, but we can give you a list of
Mhm.
tools we mentioned. If you RSVP on Luma, we'll send it to you as well via email today or sometime this week. But yeah, we'll also love to. I still like lightning round. I like to ask this question a lot. Do you have any like hot takes in design and tech?
Well, I do believe design and no code is the next thing that will be the ones that you put the first version of the product out there for startups, for small companies, and even for bigger teams. Like a lot of people think this is just for small, but if you are working on a company and you have a big design team and also a big development team, you have this gap between the both teams. And what you can do to reduce this gap is really to have a prototype that you work exactly how it should so that developers can really know what they should be building because this gap creates a lot of miscommunication between teams like the handoff can have a lot of troubles and if you are having the real product you can test it with your users and get real feedback too before the real product is actually launched and even know if they actually are interested in that feature. So I would definitely use it in all the cases, and this is what I believe we are walking towards. We build more products and more products as designers, and probably very soon this will be a function of a designer. If they won't be asking you for coding skills, or maybe they will too, like Grace mentioned before, HTML, CSS basics, even JavaScript basics can make your life easier. And if you are not interested in code, maybe not even that. But if you are interested in building products for yourself and also for companies in the near future, invest in no code tools.
Yeah, no code is the future. I'm so curious. What are some of your life goals?
You are coming up now with difficult questions, right?
Uh,
Oh.
I always like to ask that to people.
Yeah, I would say I'm not exactly like you, trying to live every single day just the best I can, even though I'm doing that too. But I didn't do that planning like, oh, I want to be here in 2 years, in 5 years, and 10 years. I actually would love to do that at some point. But I was telling my friends that I don't feel anxious about things, and they were like, oh, of course, everyone's anxious. But I think if I would be anxious, I would already know those. So I would say I really have not thought out of that so much. I am just trying to be happy with what I have, being grateful, and also keep doing the things I love to do. And that includes like design, includes building products, includes having time with my family, my lovely ones, and also spend time with my friends. So that's what I do. Oh, and travel, right? Like travel is super important for me.
What kind of upcoming trips do you have coming up? I know you mentioned Rome.
Yeah, you'll be going to Rome this Wednesday, spending there a week. And after I'm going to Paris, oh, actually, Poland and Paris, then New York, and then I'm going to Brazil and probably back by, yeah, first or second week of December.
Nice. That's so exciting. So I have a lot of trips coming up as well, but I'll be on Asia side this time.
How nice. I went to Kuala Lumpur and to Thailand this year, in the start of the year, and I was so excited. So in January, I went to Thailand, and May, I went to Kuala Lumpur and Singapore. I really loved it. It was the first time I really explored a little bit of Asia.
That's so awesome. Yeah, after this, I'm headed to Seoul, Singapore, and Bali for a month, and maybe Chiang Mai and Bangkok doing a marathon there.
Oh,
So I'll be traveling for
nice.
2 months because I just came back from a month in Europe as well. Europe is beautiful. I went to like 8 different countries, but I've been traveling a lot. After I quit my job, I'm just like, I am free to roam wherever I want. Uh, that's what
Yeah.
happened.
And I'm still waiting you in Switzerland. You have
Yes,
been
I would love to
around
visit.
here, but never here.
hmm Yeah, I heard the mountains are great.
Yes, they
hmm
are beautiful.
Yeah. Also, last question. Is there any other advice you'd like to
Okay.
share with designers or any tips for beginner designers, experienced designers?
Continuous learning. I think that's the most important thing you have to think about. Like a lot of junior designers, even some of my mentees, they finish a boot camp or they did the first version of the portfolio. They are not getting a job right away. I tell them, and I will tell you, redo your portfolio, redo your case study, do a new case study, start something different, talk with a friend, do a project for them, try to add more knowledge to your brain. This is what you keep you going and also happy with what you are doing. Because if you just say like, okay, I did the boot camp or I finished my studies, now I know everything, in 6 months you don't know it anymore.
hmm Yeah, continue learning. It's all about the journey and the learnings you make. Awesome. Thanks so much for being on our show. How can people stay connected with you?
Yeah, on LinkedIn, it's my favorite place. You can also follow me on X. Both, like you can find me everywhere almost with Carla Fernandez all together. On LinkedIn, it's the name of my company, Vitamina K. And yeah, it was a pleasure being here, Grace. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope y'all slay your day, and I gotta almost run to my next meeting now. Thank you so much.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.